Hello everybody, welcome on back to NCAA 2005. We are here in the second game of the season, ranked number 25 in the nation, or 25th rather, I guess. And we're ranked finally once again, so after losing our last game of the season last year, that knocked us of course out of it, and we didn't do enough recruiting-wise for the polls to look on us favorably heading into the season. But after picking up an early win against Syracuse, and now heading back home to welcome the Boise State Broncos, they now look favorably on us and bumped us into that top 25, just barely, but we're right on in there. So we're still only a 3-star program, so I think we're kind of a Mickey Mouse 25. So, we can very easily lose some games, and with Pac-10 play beginning in just a couple weeks, we probably will start losing some games. So, but we really need to do well in out-of-conference play, and I think we're finally good enough of a team and a program where we shouldn't have to worry too much about our out-of-conference games. That being said, we of course have a rivalry game today, early in the season. I wish we could readjust this to where this is the last game that we play, like, typical rivalries, but either way, we're getting our rivalry out of the way quickly here against Boise State. We finally beat last year. Remember, it was a stipulation of our contract for Lynch in order to keep coaching here in Idaho. He had to beat Boise State, had to figure out how to get over that hurdle, and we finally did last season. And Boise State themselves are on a bit of a downturn. They're going through a rough patch right now. So I've mentioned before that you can get sent on probation in this game. I have no idea how it happens, but it can happen. And Boise State has figured out a way to do it. So they're currently on probation. Last year they only won 4 games. One of them was not us, and they finished 108th in recruiting. So things are getting pretty bad for Boise State right now, and we should be able to win this game again. But they do have a decent enough roster. They can contend with us here, and hopefully we can show up against them in front of the packed house, man. The Kibbie Dome is finally packed out, and we only have about 4 or 5 home games in general this season, so they're going to have to enjoy it while they can. Also, one more final note before we really focus on the game play. The Sun Belt Conference logo is still on the field here, so I guess this is before they started coding that in to change, so it's going to say Sun Belt, just ignore it. We are in the Pac-10. Just better believe we're in the Pac-10. And Boise State is finally doing some Pac-10 type things as the running back LaRon Hamilton gets himself a nice pickup to get Boise State even further into Vandal territory, and he just kind of completely just opened space there. The seas were parting. The seas were parting for him. But quickly it becomes 3rd and 10 as our defense finally pushing back on Boise State's offensive surge right now, and their quarterback really looking for some open space, makes an awkward throw into a whole mess of traffic. Ben Brooks, the senior, tried to find some opening in the offense, but there was absolutely nothing there as our DBs were able to lock that down in the end zone, so bring out the kicking team. That was a long field goal with a ton of power. He probably could have made that from 50, I would imagine. I'm not sure how long that one was, but that was a very impressive kick. So 3-0 is the score for Boise State, and now on another 3rd and 5 across midfield, LaRon Hamilton again trying to create something and find some space, and there's not a whole lot of space to create something, so make it 4th and 5, and Boise State again going to try and go for it on 4th as they're kind of in that no man's land where it's too far to try the field goal but too close to maybe try and punt it, so they're going to go for it, and it does not work out, as our fans are stunned as we force a turnover on downs of Boise State. So now Matt Norwood and the gang moving the other way now as he finds, I believe, Nicholas Bullard across the middle for a quick completion, and that's going to be a first down. And Boise State's coach is already upset, man. He is already beside himself. Coach, we are early in the game. It is okay. You and your mullet are going to be okay. So fast forward to 1st and 10 now, finally in Boise State territory. Norwood's going to roll out here, create some space for himself, and a deep chuck downfield, and it is caught in the end zone by Conrad McNeil for the first touchdown of the game for either squad, as Matt Norwood kind of rolled out to his left just to give himself some time to think, I guess. I have no idea. He rolls out all the time. Sometimes he runs, and sometimes he throws bombs like that. Very rarely he throws bombs like that, but Conrad McNeil on one-on-one, he was going to take that chance, and it paid off well. So the first quarter comes to a close. We now take a 7-3 lead over Boise State, and we have the ball once again early in the second quarter on a 3rd and 10, and Norwood's going to roll out and run this time. He's going to get across the 50 and get close to the first down marker, just enough to get the first down. That was probably about a 10 or 11-yard pickup, I would imagine, as he was very smart to get just about out of bounds before he gets absolutely clobbered. Remember, he was injured for a little bit last year, so we got to be careful about contact here. So on the next play here, a quick dump off to Nicholas Bullard, and he's got some speed here, some open space to run, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. So a play that looked completely dead to rights here because there was a Boise State defender in the backfield. Look at this. We're going to get another look on the replay here, but there is a guy just waiting for Nicholas Bullard, and for some reason he didn't even make a play on him. So look at this. just missed it. And then Nicholas Bullard even picked up a block. But, I mean, this is really just all speed, completely untouched. So on a receiver screen, it pays off very, very well for Nicholas Bullard. And, yeah, look at that, just boom. And I think it was Keith Bridges who laid down the block, man. So good on him. Good on him. Very solid play from our offense all around. And we're going to take a 14-3 lead over the Broncos. But we are once again on offense here right at about midfield. And Matt Norwood wants to run to the right once again. He's going to get another first down with his legs. So by this point in the game, it felt like he had ran for more yardage, but he only ran 3 times for 19 yards, so I guess that makes sense. 2 10-yard runs and maybe a 2-yard run, and maybe makes a little bit of sense, get a little bit closer there. But quickly it becomes 3rd and 5 as Boise State's defense has to get us off the field. They're desperate to do so, and they are going to be successful in doing so as we try to go to Keith Bridges, and he is completely silenced on the ground. There's no room for him to go anywhere, and now Boise State forces a 4th down, but we're going to keep the offense on the field as Lynch is feeling a little bit gutsy in this game. So on a 4th and 4, he wants to continue applying the pressure to the Broncos' necks, and it does not pay off as Matt Norwood throws up a prayer of a ball in double coverage, and that pass is just completely off the mark. Thankfully, it wasn't intercepted. It probably should have been, but it wasn't, fortunately. So Boise State's going to take over on downs now on a 2nd and 10. Their quarterback, Ben Brooks, lays up a deep shot downfield, and it's going to be caught by looking over the sheet, and I think it might have been Derek Ellison, possibly. I couldn't see. It looked like an 88. I'm not sure. There isn't an 88 on the sheet. There's everything surrounding it, but there isn't an 88. But either way, it's a completion. But LaRon Hamilton, once again, is going to create something on the ground for the Broncos offense as he, with a fancy spin move, looks like he gets just about enough for the first down, maybe even short a couple inches. We'll have to see here in a second. But I believe Boise State got enough for the first, and they do. So cut to another 1st and 10. Ben Brooks here dropping back to pass here, and he dumps this one off quickly as it's caught, but he gets absolutely flattened. Oh, my goodness, he gets absolutely flattened, and he's going to fumble the football, and that's going to be picked up by the Idaho Vandal defense. And now this one's going to be heading the other way, so Boise State finally drives deep down in Idaho territory. And thanks to an absolutely catastrophic, catatonic hit from Philip Tolbert, one of our freshmen that we brought in this season, that is now a fumble and recovered by the defense. So the second quarter is going to come to a close. We're going to take it into the locker room and hang on to that 14-3 lead as Boise State's last attempt in the first half comes up empty. But now Matt Norwood running again with his feet here, creating something, breaks a tackle even, and gets horse collar tackled out of bounds. This is way before that becomes a penalty, so that is a legal hit, even though it looks really brutal. Looks just absolutely nasty just to see in real time. But we're going to get another replay on this, and I'm happy to see that because look at this broken tackle. You see that? Matt Norwood, man, just like whoop, a little, slide off of me. You know what I mean? A very fancy play from Matt Norwood and his legs. We don't see that often. So on the next play here, Norwood's going to try and float this one up, and he does, and it's another completion for a touchdown, this time in double coverage. So earlier we saw Matt Norwood take the shot on one-on-one, and this time he was like, dude, I trust you guys in this double coverage. And we're going to see exactly what receiver it was. I think it might have been the freshman Roderick Williams. And it is the freshman Roderick Williams who had a huge game against Syracuse last week. And he finally gets himself checked in here. So 21-3 is the score, but Boise State finally moving on the ground. And that is Sherman Dennison, the fullback, who we haven't called at all today. But he gets injured on this play. He would stretch his Achilles tendon. He didn't rupture it or anything, but he's injured for the rest of the game. So remember in the last year's game, he was one of the biggest contributors for Boise State's offense. And now he's out for the remainder of the game, but it's okay because we're going to exchange an injury ourselves. Philip Tolbert, who had the forced fumble in this game, he's going to be injured for the remainder of the game, and this is going to be the last we're going to see of him. So the freshman gets hurt in just his second game in the black and gold for the Vandals. It is black and gold, right? They probably have their own names for it, but I'm just calling it black and gold, I guess. But Boise State quickly becomes 3rd down after that huge pickup from LaRon Hamilton, and Van Brooks takes a shot towards the end zone. It's going absolutely nowhere as that pass is incomplete in the end zone. And now Boise State's going to have to make a pretty tough decision here, but it's pretty easy for the coach. Send the boys back out on 4th and 11. Brooks running from some pressure here, and it is dumped off and caught, and that's going to be a touchdown. So just enough space here, enough of a running room to get into the end zone, and that was a nice play from the Broncos offense as they were able to finally score and answer back here to us. For the first time It feels like, yeah, it is 88. I looked through everything. There's no 88 that I saw when I was writing down numbers. I don't know who this is. Who are you, sir? Explain to me who you are. Either way, it's going to be a touchdown for the Broncos, and they're going to keep the offense on the field for a 2-point conversion. Brooks has plenty of time and finds the open man in the back of the end zone. Looks like he just kind of got behind us. It was the tight end, TD Sanford, not Stanford. TD Sanford found some open space here in the back of the end zone. So it's a 10-point game once again. Boise State on the ground on the 3rd and 2, and LaRon Hamilton gets brought down well short, and it looks like it might have been Alton O'Neill who was able to force that 4th and 2. So Boise State again going to go for it on 4th down, and on another run play and a amazing athletic play from our defensive line. I want a closer look to see who it was. I want to believe that it was probably Carlos Calhoun, but it could have been easily one of our defensive tackles, one of our amazing defensive tackles. But either way, it's a turnover on downs, and we're taking over close to midfield. Norwood moving around in the backfield, trying to find some open space here, and he drops that one into a bucket to Byron Huber, the tight end, who catches this one right along the sidelines. And that's going to extend this drive here and burn even more time off the clock for Boise State, as now they're going to have to consider here their options. There's still plenty of time left, but if we can score here, we would really kind of put ourselves in a comfortable position, as Norwood on the next play manages to find Nicholas Bullard. But there is a flag on the field, and the reason for the flag is because someone on Boise State got a little bit too physical with Matt Norwood after the pass, and so that's going to add another 9 yards onto that already amazing pickup here for Nicholas Bullard. So that's going to put us with goal to go here, looking to score, and Boise State might have just signed their lives away with that penalty right there. So with goal to go, Norwood takes a shot towards the end zone and wide open in the corner of the end zone. It is caught for another Vandal touchdown. I think it was Roderick Williams, the freshman, again. So a multi-touchdown game for the freshman, as he is continuing to just produce and be effective on this offense, and that's exactly what we need. Our offense is getting younger and our defense is getting a lot older, so it's good to see faces like that starting to do a lot more for us. So 28-11 is the score here. It's a 3rd down for Boise, and that pass is going absolutely nowhere, but another flag is on the field, and this time this flag is going to be placed on us for a defensive pass interference. So we're going to give basically Boise State a new lease on life in this drive. In the absence of Phil Tolbert, we're getting a little bit of inexperience in our DB room, as that penalty is going to be charged to Dane Kramer, the sophomore. He's like the 4th cornerback on the depth chart. So, but fast forward to another 4th down, as Boise State's struggling to keep their offense moving, and they're going to continue to struggle all the way to their graves, as it's another turnover on downs right around midfield, and we're going to get prime field position effectively in an area to end the game, and we do. Boise State would add a garbage time touchdown in the last minute or so of the game before they could really do anything else, and I didn't decide to show it because we were already up 3 scores. Even though the score didn't look that nice on screen, we were already up 3 scores. I didn't really think showing Boise State's last touchdown would have really made things all that suspenseful or anything like that. So we do manage to beat Boise State for the 2nd straight year. It looks like we finally might own this rivalry, as Boise State's program continues to just go in a tailspin. I mean, it continues to go in a tailspin. So following up a 4-7 season last year and the probation and everything, and things just aren't going to go well for them. But in this game, if we look at the stats here, they did outplay us pretty well. So they have more total offense than we do, and they ran the ball a lot more efficiently than we did. And Keith Bridges, man, still struggling to find a little bit of that momentum he had last year. But both teams atrocious on 3rd down, and Boise State was really bad on 4th down. They went for it 4 times, only converting 1 of those, which is kind of the big difference maker here. The 1 fumble, it really did hurt Boise State's chances. They probably could have at least came within 3 or so if they didn't fumble the football there, maybe even tied it or won the game. But all these coulda, shoulda, wouldas, we end up winning. So Matt Norwood's passing stat line, once again, not the prettiest thing here, but 4 touchdowns and 276 yards. You're never going to scoff at that, so we will happily take that. And then Nicholas Bullard was everywhere today, absolutely everywhere. But Roderick Williams was the man getting the touchdowns. I mean, everyone was, but he got 2 of them himself. So continuing to produce for us in the receiving corps, and we love to see that. So coming back to the hub world between a couple of bye weeks, we do manage to beat New Mexico, who has yet to win a game, but we do manage to beat them. So we go undefeated in our first 3 out-of-conference games. We have another one at the end of the season, but our next game is finally going to open up Pac-10 play, and we're going on the road to Corvallis to play Oregon State, who is already 1-2 on the year. So they're going to be looking for a win against the new kids on the block. So hope to see you guys in Corvallis when we take on the Beavers.